Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Thursday the 17th of December 2015, and we are responding to a subscriber who accuses us of being wrong and who has said that we were spreading inaccurate propaganda about Peter Schiff. In our last video, published yesterday, entitled Fed Raises Rates by 0.25%, we had one sentence in that 5.5-minute video which stated, quote, "Despite what Peter Schiff and others claimed, that there was no way the Fed could raise rates, they have been proven wrong," unquote. Now, one of our subscribers by the name of Nicholas Zunis stated, inverted commas, "More propaganda from this channel. Before you accuse Peter Schiff of being wrong, I think you should listen to what he said. He said that raising rates was a possibility, but very unlikely," close inverted commas. We have to admit that we have been called many names and also accused of many things, and that we take this in our stride. However, when someone questions our facts, then we are irked by it. Not a Donald Trump thin-skinned kind of irk, but one in which we feel that the accusation has to be addressed, because our integrity and honesty is called into question. It would have been very easy to delete the message or even ignore it. What was so incredible was that we asked this gentleman to provide us with links to support his case. This he failed to do, but did respond with a lengthy defense of someone who is clearly his hero. So, whilst we won't make a habit of this, in case one of you listening think perhaps we'll insult Illuminati Silver and get our name mentioned, we will on this occasion allow our accusation to be supported or damned by Peter Schiff's own words. What we will say is that Mr. Zunis' comment is right in that Mr. Schiff changed his position entirely on the 8th of December, that is 1 week prior to the announcement, and when 80% of all economists predicted a rise. Great foresight, Mr. Schiff. But what about what you said in November, or in October, or in September, or in March, or in December last year? Let's listen, and we shall let you make up your own minds. Some of the audio is not great, so please forgive us for that. The first, 23rd of December 2014, CNBC interview.
And the Fed is pretending that it can raise interest rates without the economy going back into recession. I don't see how that's possible.
All right. Well, here's the other option. What if they delay raising rates until Don Cohen, the former vice chair of the Fed, was talking about this just about a day ago, pushing it out to 2016. Will that buy the economy enough time to recover fully or more strongly?
And no, it can't. It's impossible to have a legitimate recovery as long as the Fed is artificially stimulating with quantitative easing. But I believe they are going to delay it indefinitely. Look, if this was a legitimate recovery, if the Federal Reserve actually had confidence in this recovery, they would have raised rates years ago.
Next, 19th of March 2015, Fox News.
Well, they're never going to raise interest rates, at least not until they're forced to. That's what I can't understand, that people haven't figured this out yet, that Yellen has no intention of raising interest rates. I mean, she did mention that it was possible that they could raise rates, but I mean, anything is possible. I mean, an alien invasion is possible, right? But it's not going to happen.
Next, 2nd of September 2015, Kitco News.
And I don't think the Fed ever really seriously considered raising rates in the first place. I think they wanted to create that impression. They wanted the markets to believe that rate hikes were under consideration because they want the markets to believe that the economic recovery is legitimate and that the economy can actually withstand the higher rates that they're pretending that they're ready to deliver. But I think it's all been part of a show to mask the fact that the Fed understands that all we have is a gigantic bubble, not a real recovery, and if they were to raise rates, they would prick that bubble, and that's the last thing they want to do, which is why all they do is talk about raising rates, but they haven't actually followed through on any of that talk.
Now, 6th of October 2015, Schiff Gold.
And you have all of the speculators who are bearish on gold because of their false beliefs that the Fed is about to raise interest rates and that higher interest rates are going to be bearish for gold. I think they're wrong on both counts. First of all, even if the Fed were about to raise interest rates, which I have never believed was the case, but even if that was in fact the case, there is no historical evidence to suggest that the rate hikes would actually be negative for gold.
29th of October 2015.
They want to claim credit. They want to take credit for saving the economy, and they can't do that if they acknowledge that they can't raise rates. So they have to keep pretending, and they have to keep making up excuses. I was listening on CNBC, and again, Steve Leisman was talking about the rate hike, and he was saying, why can't they just raise rates a little bit? The emergency is over. Why do we need emergency rates? And again, this shows a complete lack of understanding of economics, which is typical among anybody who is a professional economist. Look, the emergency is not over as far as the Fed is concerned because there is no real recovery. They can't raise interest rates at all. Yes, if we
12th of November 2015, Schiff Gold. Listen carefully, as not only is he wrong about rates, but also about the rise in the price of gold and silver following any rate rise. Slightly changing his opinion here.
But what does it mean for gold traders? Well, there's two possibilities, right? One is that the Fed does, in fact, raise interest rates in December, and the other is that they don't. And in my opinion, either scenario is actually bullish for gold, and I think this $100 sell-off from just below $1,200 to now back below $1,100 is a great opportunity for people to either position for themselves for the first time in gold or increase the position they already have. And of course, whatever I'm saying about gold also goes for silver. But let's take the first scenario, which I still believe to be the less likely of the two, that is the Fed raises interest rates.
And finally, his change in position on the 8th of December 2015 on the Schiff report, when it became clear to all those involved in markets that rates were going up. And even then he suggested that all of his previous no rate rise calls were really limited to the following month's FOMC meeting.
Well, I think one thing that has changed, and in fact, from my perspective, this meeting next week is actually the first time that it's possible that the Fed might in fact raise interest rates. Now, I know I've been saying all along that the Fed had no intention of raising rates, and I still believe that that was the case.
Thank you for listening, and please draw your own conclusions. Was Mr. Zunis's accusation of our spreading propaganda an accurate one? We think not. Are we anti-Peter Schiff? No. Neither do we follow him blindly, or anyone else for that matter. We would certainly like to think that perhaps he listened to one of our videos and eventually saw the light. We hope you have found this video helpful and informative, and would appreciate it if you would give it a thumb up, comment, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. Please share this on Twitter and follow us at Illuminati Silver. Also, do view our website at www.illuminatisilver.com and subscribe to our free mailing list for special mailings, bulletins, and offers in future. Disclaimer: Illuminati Silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management, and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice, and merely represent the personal views of its owners.